Planet X-NIBIRU doom? Well, one scientist says that if this were to take place, Earth would be stripped of its moon, according to NASA scientists' warning. In other words, the moon would be removed from its position, and who knows what would be happening. Our solar system would become something like a billiard ball game. So what would be happening here? Now, the Nibiru Planet X, Wormwood Nemesis, returning planets, returning celestial bodies, have been spoken of since antiquity, thousands of years BC. And one of these instances was by an ancient Egyptian high priest who told the Athenian lawmaker Solon, who told Plato, and thus Plato wrote about the sinking of Atlantis that was due to a celestial event of a recurring body. This ancient Egyptian high priest said that it used to take place in the far past, and it would be taking place in the future as well, because this thing keeps on returning, creating havoc and chaos in our solar system and even on Earth. Now, mythical planetary system Nibiru, some people call it a myth, some people call it a reality, depending on who you want to believe. But the Nibiru Planet X system would rob the moon from the Earth, even if it had ever had a close bypass, a flyby. This is what a top NASA scientist has warned us of, and he explains this. It's Dr. David Morrison, an astronomer at NASA's AIM Research Center, and he said about the system, if the system made it into our inner solar system, he doesn't talk about the outer solar system or the edges of our solar system. He talks about the inner solar system. That's a big difference, okay? So if he were to talk about the outer solar system or just at the edges of our solar system, what would he say about that? But here he says, if the system made it to the inner solar system, it would disrupt the position of all the planets and eject the moon from the Earth's orbit, he said. The internet has been alive with conspiracy theories claiming Nibiru Planet X is heading towards Earth, triggering that it could trigger a global apocalypse from, sometime soon. Others say that it's just beyond Jupiter at the point it is now, and depending on where the position of the Earth is, we can have a planetary alignment with Planet X, Nibiru, or Wormwood, or whatever you want to call it, Planet 9, that it increases the gravitational pull on the Earth, and that we have an increase in volcanic eruptions and earthquakes because of the magma in the mantle plumes that it has a gravitational pull on, and they change positions there. Well, that with the stress on the magma is increased, and there's earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Now, that's one way to look at it. Even our moon has a stress and an influence on our water tides and even earth tides. Even the Earth can move because of the movements of our moon around the Earth. I mean, that's the scientific evidence. Now here, what Dr. David Morrison says. The so-called Nibiru truthers claim NASA is at the heart of a global elite conspiracy to hide truth from the population while they seek refuge in underground bunkers. Well, that's what people are buzzing with. Nibiru emerged as a myth in 1976 when writer Zecharia Sitchin talked about the ancient Middle East cultures, the Babylonians and the Sumerians, talking of a giant planet dubbed Nibiru, which orbited the sun. And Nibiru, or Planet X, or Nemesis, or Wormwood, or Planet 9, whatever you want to call it, claims a mini solar system consisting of the sun, planets, and moons is lurking in space at the edge of our solar system, with a huge 3,600-mile orbit of the sun. Now, there are those that claim that most star systems are binaries or more than binaries. It could be groups. And the astronomers have lately found that at least 30% of the stars in our galaxy are binary systems, if not more than 30%. Some believe that most star systems are binary. So there are those who feel that we could have a returning of our binary sun with its mini system of planets coming towards us. Now, that's what some say. Now, they say this planet, if it does exist, will cause the poles to flip or switch and spark great earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. NASA, of course, reportedly said Nibiru does not exist. Dr. Morrison was speaking during a podcast released by the Search for Extraterrestrial Life, or SETI. It was part of the Big Picture Science radio show, broadcasting an episode called Skeptic Check, Nibiru. Mr. Morrison was asked to say what would happen in the solar system if Nibiru, Planet X, did exist and did enter it. He said, if a big object was coming into the solar system, its gravity would perturb the orbits of the planets, and we would have detected that long before it came close to Earth. Now, we do have, as we know lately, the astronomers have found that there is something perturbing and pulling the larger planets of the outer solar system, and they don't know what it is. It could be another planet, it could be a clump of comets or celestial debris, it could even be a black hole. They're coming out with all these theories, but they don't know what it is because they haven't seen it yet. But the thing is that there is something perturbing the gravity of the outer planets, and they even said that the sun has also tilted. I think what they said was 6 degrees, I can't remember. So what is it that's causing the orbits of these outer planets of our solar system to be perturbed? That's the big question that's hanging above us. He said the planets' orbits are very regulated, and if some massive object came along every so often and came through the inner solar system, it would all be screwed up and the planets would not be coplanar. The moon would have been ejected, and obviously that is not the case. Well, the moon is our planet is in the inner solar system. It's not in the outer solar system. We're in the inner solar system closer to the sun. We're the third planet from the sun. Now, Dr. Morrison said it was pointless describing what would happen as Nibiru does not exist. Now, he said the planet's orbits are very regulated, and if some massive object came along every so often and came through the inner solar system, it would all be screwed up, the planets would not be coplanar, and the moon would have been ejected. That's what he did say. Dr. Morrison said, if it came into the inner solar system, it would destroy the planet's orbits. What the resulting configuration would be, no one would know because it does not exist and we don't know its mass. It's just a crazy idea, he says. There is no observational evidence whatsoever. Astronomers keep track of what's happening in the universe very well, and astronomers have never reported this. He said he felt compelled to speak out to say Nibiru does not exist because NASA has forwarded thousands of calls from curious and panicked members of the public, including minors. Morrison said, one worried man asked me if he should go to work or stay home with his family. Now, this is what was on Express UK by John Austin a couple of years back. But we did have a solar eclipse that was televised live a couple of years back. And we did have the astronomers of the UK, of the SLU Observatory, commenting on it live. And we did have the Mercury transit across the sun as they were there waiting for the total eclipse of the sun. And not eclipse of the moon, eclipse of the sun, sorry. And there was a body on the viewer that was on the right-hand side of the sun. And he was explaining to us that, yes, that was Planet X Nibiru, and that the UK astronomers decided to disclose it to the world, even though there were other international space agencies, like the most known one that we know and refer to many often times, that they decided not to disclose it to the Earth, but that it does exist and that it returns every so often. So take your pick. You decide what you want to believe in, you research and you listen, and you decide. Anyway, there's a lot of mysteries, and even if we look at prophecies, we know that, for example, what I read just now in the Holy Bible readings concerning chapter 8, Revelations, trumpet 3. A third angel sounded, and a great star fell from heaven, burning like a torch, and it fell on the third of the rivers and on the springs of water. The name of the star is Wormwood, A third of the waters became wormwood, and many men died from water because it was made bitter. The fourth trumpet, the heavens struck, and the fourth angel sounded, and a third of the sun was struck, a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that a third of them were darkened. A third of the day did not shine, and likewise the night. And so we do have celestial events going on in the prophecies of Revelation. It's not only having to do with impact on the earth, it's also impact on our moon, the earth, the stars, the sun even. So take your pick. Now this specific image here is taken by Paul Cox of the SLU UK Observatory of Astronomers, and this is one of his images, and as you can see here, something very strange about this. Please leave your comments. Thank you. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.